Be a secondary source. But no, because then it would be it would be a secondary source on you, I think.
But I got it off of Truman though, so if I wrote it in a different book, what if they wrote it something? That'd be third.
I would imagine it's still just considered a secondary source. I would imagine. I'm not positive though. That's an interesting question. All right, what did we get for number 2?
It says who's the audience of the primary source document. I put the people of America.
Why?
Because he's telling everybody that why he ordered people to financial aid and military to go over to Greece.
Yeah. Yo, we had to spend a whole lot of money on countries that weren't ours. What's up?
Because we were the superpower. Instead of being assholes and like, oh no, I'm not gonna help them. We helped them. We gave them military. We gave them engineers to build their railroads back again. Their like all that stuff.
So, but there's a pitch that has to be made because this is what eventually becomes the Marshall Plan. Which, if we have time, I'm going to show a quick video on. The Marshall Plan is billions of U.S. tax dollars going to foreign nations to rebuild their countries.
I feel like that's what got us in our debt, though. Like, because we started helping.
Partly, but here's the deal. Have you ever heard of a symbiotic relationship?
Yep.
What's that?
Isn't it when like something we help each other?
Yes. Yeah. It's like if Cam's a big underwater shark, and all day long he eats fish.
Well, you got to teeth somehow, so something.
But then there's a little tiny fish that Cam has to not eat because he has to open his mouth up and then it goes in and cleans his teeth for him.
So he's helping the fish get food, and the fish is helping the shark clean his teeth.
Exactly. Symbiotic. So if Cam wanted, if he wanted a quick snack, he could trick it and eat it. But then in the future, the other little fish probably aren't going to do the same thing, right?
No, you get my friend.
Not
so,
a pescatarian.
Well, it is difficult to convince U.S. taxpayers that the right thing to do is to invest our tax dollars in foreign nations. We're also opening new markets. We're building relationships, and they're going to buy our products, and we're signing trade agreements. And guess what, guys? Europe's industrial capacity was pretty much destroyed during World War II. The world's industrial capacity was pretty much destroyed. Ours was one of the only ones left.
Yeah, because we're awesome.
So, made a little money. The Scandinavians had some left too. They got a lot of war guilt from that. All right.
The second.
Hold on a sec. Quan, were you able to figure out question 4?
Yeah. Well, no, there's still 2 more other questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Go ahead.
It says, what is the purpose of the primary source document? I put, the purpose of the document is to tell people how Greece is non-self-sufficient and how we had to help them get them back on their feet.
Yeah.
And it says, why might the audience purpose be important to keep in mind? The purpose of the audience might want to keep in mind that we care and we didn't want to be bullies, so we just help them, give tax dollars to help them instead of us just keeping our money by ourselves.
We didn't want to be bullies, and there is also a threat implied. The threat is, do you want these countries to become satellite states of the Soviet Union? You know those really scary people that are about a year away from getting nukes? That have a massive Nazi killing machine of an army? Do you want them to be the ones that help the Greeks?
Yeah, because if they do help them, then we're kind of screwed.
Greece is important, guys. It's no mistake that a lot of the earliest civilizations began in Greece. They have unencumbered access to the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean is the lifeline of the world. It can get you out into the Atlantic. You can easily go over land and get into the Red Sea, and I mean it's really important. That's why Rome worked so hard to encircle it and call it Rome's pond.
So I know this is a little off topic, not really. You seen X-Men First Class?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
it's my favorite one.
That's what I think that's what it was about. Like the Soviets and how if they would have crossed that line, they would have started shooting fire. So that's what I'm thinking. Like I was just thinking about how like we were. They said in the X-Men they're like, oh, but our real enemy is the Soviets, and I'm thinking like, there's mutants, we don't even know this, right? And then they finally figure out like, oh my God, these are the real threats. Like, come on, bro.
Do you guys need me to write that down, or were you able to get it?
Get what?
Question 2. Write it down?
I got it.
Alright, so the main thing I want you to take away, I'm just gonna write down, I don't wanna inundate you with an answer that you're just gonna forget. So let's do. Okay. The purpose is to sell the idea of using U.S. tax
Money.
dollars to rebuild foreign countries. That is a hard thing to sell to people. Very hard.
I can do
Oh my
four.
fucking god, I fucking hate this shit.
What's that, Mike?
I can do four.
Let's see if Juan's able to do it. Sell the idea. Yeah, would somebody be able to take Emily out on a quick walk?
This shit.
Sell the idea of U.S. tax dollars used to build foreign countries.
You just got that.
I know.
Juan, don't worry about the rest of this question. Come back to it if you want. I want you to try to answer number 4 for me.
Okay, so I just basically wrote what's in the paragraph. It was, that it needs, wait,
Okay. That was this creepy noise camp or whatever the heck that was.
okay, so the Greek army is,
This shit pissing me off.
it needs supplies and equipment if it is going to restore the authority of the government throughout Greek territory.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Can you read the question for us?
Yes. How will the military and financial aid that President Truman is requesting support Greece in becoming a self-supporting, assisting democracy?
Very good. Good job. Mike, what'd you get? Is that about right?
4?
Yeah.
I got military and financial aid might help Greece become self-supporting government because they will be able to conquer other cities, and aid might help with homes and people not being poor.
Yeah, the main idea at this point is to try to end war. And
Well, how are they ever gonna get stuff without conquering other cities? That's what we did back then. I mean, we used to always conquer.
yeah, but
cities.
we're to a point now where we can globalize and we can all produce what we're good at and,
Well, that's
and
not-
work symbiotically with one another. Think about it. One of the longest periods of peace that we've had in the modern age has been since World War II. And
Yeah, we've always had-
we're at the peak of our civilization. Everybody is doing better than they've ever done.
Well, I mean, like before, we've had manifestation where we just needed land. Back in the West Country,
Right.
we got land. But
You
now
don't,
I'm saying,
but here's the catch-22, let me stop you there real quick.
Okay.
You don't need it, you want it.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Well, I mean, because
In some cases, like, okay, let's take Europe for example. It's no mistake that Europe was the biggest colonizers and imperializers in the world, and it's not because there's something particularly evil about them.
What's the
It's
last
because
word?
Europe was incredibly
Foreign
densely
countries.
populated. And when you're very densely populated, it causes you to want to look outward for new opportunities and new resources, new wealth.
Well, I was thinking like back then when they had the conquerors. Like back then Greece had no government, so I'm thinking like, why would we give them military if knew, if we didn't think that they were gonna.
We want to
do stuff.
ensure that if the Soviets or a Soviet satellite state goes into Greece, that they are gonna be able to defend themselves, and that's why that we eventually
Oh.
incorporate them as a NATO state.
Oh, okay. Oh, they're part of NATO now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Is
alright.
Russia part of NATO too?
no.
Not even.
No, Russia, the part of the Truman Doctrine is keep Germany down, keep Russia out, keep the US in charge.
Yep.
So we didn't want Germany to rise again, and guess what? They have. If Germany was not limited in its military capabilities because of World War II,
They'd be
Germany's
stronger.
really throwing its weight around Europe again. Again, they're dictating all sorts of terms to other members of the European Union. They're imposing their will in the name of now what is kind of justice, like social justice, essentially forcing other nations to comply with their immigration laws.
Do you think there's gonna be another Nazi party where they're just gonna?
No, in Germany it's illegal.
For Nazis?
Yes, Germany has done a lot to try to own their history
Oh,
and deal with it. You cannot have a swastika in Germany.
Hey,
You
no.
can't Sieg Heil. You can't.
Kyle, what does that mean?
That
Oh,
was the
and they're
Nazi
like Heil
salute.
Hitler?
Yeah. I mean, it's it's a big deal.
I heard they used to have Hitler Youth where Hitler, like, instead of school, they would learn about the Nazis and like about the war.
That's what people say on Twitter about when we were at, I was at I was, back to what I was saying, I was at a Boy Scout Jamboree, and people were tweeting that we were like the Hitler Youth, and we originated from that. I was like,
You'd be dead right now. 'Cause
I would be
you know
dead
how
right
long that
now,
was?
and plus, we don't worship Hitler.
I heard
They're
that.
trying to tell us that we are Hitler Youth. I don't understand what you're saying.
they said that the Boy Scouts originated from Hitler Youth.
I mean, it's possible.
It's
I don't
possible,
know.
but I mean, like,
You have to realize, at the time, a lot of the things Adolf Hitler was doing were perceived as being positive throughout the world. Before 1939, Hitler was a fairly popular figure, and he was not that unique in his harsh treatment toward racial minority and Jews. We had the same laws in America that Hitler had in Germany. In fact, Germany looked to America and looked to the South and Jim Crow laws to get a good handle on how he should deal with his Jewish population and segregate.
So why didn't we go in once Germany got in power? Why didn't we just go into war right then? Why did we have to wait until Japan really bombed us?
If you get into an all-out fist fight and you win by the skin of your teeth,
Oh, you're gonna think you're big, but
you won. Like, you're not itching to get back into another fist fight. Especially if you broke your arm, you couldn't see out of your eye for 6 months, you lost a ton of your money. But if you're the loser and you're down and you still haven't regained your money and you still,
you're gonna want it
well,
back.
you have to lose. Germany had a fighting spirit. They were much more interested in the fight than the rest of the world. All right, we only got a couple minutes. Cam, what'd you get for number 6?
I don't wanna say it.
yeah, you can do it.
Let's hear it.
One is good.
Okay. I wrote, well, the question is, what claim does President Truman make about why the United States must be the nation to prove in the aid? I put, he said that I believe that it must be the policy of the United States to support free people.
Okay. Saying the Greeks are a free people. We want people to be free because we believe in this thing called the democracy theory, which essentially states free people and free democratically elected governments will not go to war with one another. And we have just went through 2 wars that were grotesque and millions upon millions of people died, and we don't want to do it again. So we need to shape a world which is free, and we need to keep the Soviets out. We don't want their influence to spread. If their influence spreads to Greece, that's bad. We don't want that. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Because it's going to increase the probability of war. All right, put your work in your folders for me. Good job. So what we got for the day. Say bye, kids.
Bye.